Gimlet, this is Reply All. I'm PJ Vogt.
And I'm Alex Goldman.
So a couple years ago, a friend was visiting from out of town, and she took me to see this play. It was called Perfect Crime. All she really knew about it was that it was a crime thriller. So we went to this off-Broadway theater where the stage was set up like an office in an old detective story. Big wood bookshelves, an old Persian rug. We sit down and the play begins. This is a recording of the first scene. A man is sitting in the office listening to a reel-to-reel recorder. And then this woman barges onto the stage. She's wearing a wig, but you can't tell if you're supposed to know that it's a wig or not. And you don't really have that much time to wonder because she immediately pulls out a gun and shoots the guy. And so begins the most bewildering couple hours of theater I've ever seen in my life. The play has the rhythms of a detective story. People are finding stuff out and clues are revealed and accusations are made. But sitting there watching it, I could not follow anything. Which meant that I didn't know if the play was over my head or really just bad.
So PJ made me go see this play. He actually made me go see it with our producer, Fia Benin. And it is pretty much as bizarre as he describes it. I kept leaning over to her and going like, do you understand what's going on? And she would lean back and say, no. And so I looked on Yelp, and the internet feels the same way as I do about this play. Here are a couple of reviews that I read on Yelp. First, the pros. The seats have ample legroom, and the sets aren't bad for a one-set play. That's everything that's good about this show. And then here's another one. At the end of the play, the audience was so stunned that we didn't know we were supposed to clap until one of the actors took a bow. The applause was then muted out of pity and mixed with laughter as we realized that this awful experience was over.
So I should say, I think Yelp reviews are maybe my least favorite part of the internet. They tend to be written in this voice that's like mean and picky and just finds fault in everything. But even though I don't like Yelp reviews, or online reviews at all for that matter, I know that they're very powerful. Bad Yelp reviews can destroy somebody's business. And so it is crazy to me that anything could be so hated online and still survive. Particularly something that relies on new people going to see it again and again and again. But my first clue that Perfect Crime might exist somehow magically outside of the laws of the universe as I have understood it up to this point came when I met the star of the play, Catherine Russell. I've never met anyone like her. This is how she reacted when I asked her about the bad reviews that I had found on the internet.
I'm pretty optimistic, and I'm happy when I get up in the morning. So I can't really make a judgment about other people's lives. If they want to judge me, there's nothing I can do about it.
I guess I hadn't understood, the Yelp page, it had like a lower star rating than the Yelp page for Rikers Island. It was like Rikers had 2.5, and I think you guys had 1.5.
I mean, it is what it is. We're still here. People are buying tickets.
And this is what is actually crazy about Perfect Crime. Perfect Crime has been running nonstop for 28 years. It's the longest running play in New York City. And Catherine Russell, who stars as sharp-tongued psychiatrist Margaret Thorne Brent, holds the Guinness World Record for doing the same performance more times than anybody else in history.
What did Mrs. Johansson tell you?
Put the gun down, Mrs. Brent.
Doctor, can't you fucking say doctor?
Okay, put the gun
You said
down.
Mrs. Johansson.
April 18th, 1987. It was our first performance.
And what, as someone who was 2 years old in 1987, what was happening in 1987?
How lovely of you to point that out. At least you were alive. Usually people are not alive. There were no cell phones, really. People didn't have cell phones. No DNA testing, really. There's certainly no DVDs yet. It was a different time.
So what is going on here? How does Perfect Crime survive?
Is this PJ?
Yeah, is this Lonnie?
Yes, it is. Hi, how are you?
This is Lonnie Price. He's a longtime Broadway guy. He's been a writer, an actor, a director. He knows theater. And Lonnie said the fact that Perfect Crime stays up is especially surprising because theater is even more expensive than most people realize. Even shows that critics love, that audiences seem to love, close all the time.
Most shows fail. Most. It must be 90% or something. Most fail. Failure is in your inches from failure at all times. It's the odd thing that's a hit.
This play's not a hit. Reply All saw it on 3 different nights, once during the weekend, and we never saw the theater more than a quarter full. So how does it make enough money to run? Lonnie did the math.
So if it's 4 characters, 1 set, so that means it doesn't have a lot of stagehands that it employs. I don't know if the actors are making $600 a week, maybe $800 a week, maybe less. So saying maybe their entire budget for salaries is $7,000 a week. So depending on the deal they have with the theater, and if they have a lease on the theater, they don't have to sell very many tickets. One would think, looking at it, it's probably the cheapest show in New York to run, one would think.
Lonnie said this could work, but they'd have to be scrappy. Catherine, it turns out, is scrappy as hell.
A guy came in, he didn't like Perfect Crime, I think, and he complained about it, and he tried to take money from the guys who were selling the concessions. But he was like really belligerent and getting in his face and trying to literally say, I want my money back, and trying to grab the money. He was a total asshole. And I got right in his face and I said, what's the problem here, buddy? You saw the play, you don't get your money back. Get out of here.
But why do all that work for a play that's so confusing? When you leave the theater, you're handed a 17-point frequently asked questions list about the story that you just watched. It addresses questions like, who killed whom? And what was the painting? Catherine did not write this play, so why has she chosen to devote her life to keeping it running?
What did Mrs. Johansson tell you?
She's doing the same play every night, 8 performances a week. Can you imagine saying the same lines every night
What did Mrs. Johansson tell you?
for all those years?
What did Mrs. Johansson tell you?
Put the gun down.
What did Mrs. Johansson tell you?
It makes my stomach hurt.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. I mean, most actors, if they do a year in something, they want to kill themselves. They go through periods of, I'm having a really bad couple months, and it's a little bit better, and all that. But years?
Catherine probably wouldn't put it this way, but from my perspective, it seems like those years doing Perfect Crime have cost her. For instance, when she started the play, there was a guy she was seeing.
I was engaged to somebody, and I think he got pretty disgusted and said, he said Perfect Crime ruined his life.
What was that like? How was it ruining his life at the time?
Oh, because it's no fun being married to an actress who does 8 shows a week. You have no weekends to go away. You can't go out on date night on a Friday or Saturday night. You can't go out with other couples or go to the movies. I'm always working. I get home at 11 o'clock on Saturday night.
And would he come to the play?
A couple of times maybe. And then we broke up probably after maybe a year and a half or 2 years.
Catherine doesn't take vacations. She doesn't take sick days. She doesn't miss shows. There was no performance on 9/11, but only because it happened to be on their day off. They were back the day after. And the day that Catherine's mom died, she found out after a matinee showing of Perfect Crime. She still did the evening show. Catherine says that she gets her work ethic from her dad. He was a lawyer who died while Catherine was still pretty young. She was just 20. She idolized him, and he loved her, but he was a tough critic. In college, when she tried out for Streetcar Named Desire and got a callback for the part of Stella, she phoned him with the good news. And his first question was why she hadn't gotten the role of Blanche. It was always like that.
I mean, he was like, get straight A's, you'd get straight A's. Why not an A+? You'd get an A+. Why not all A+? He was like, what do they call it, the Tiger Mom? He was like that. And he really instilled in us, no matter what you do, do it well.
Catherine keeps a real picture of her dad on the stage. It's been there the whole time the play's run. And she says that he'd be proud of her. Because even though, according to the internet, Perfect Crime is a 1.5-star play, she thinks of it as a success. Most people wouldn't be able to keep a play going for years and years and years. This is not how actors usually define success. It feels weird to be a performer and not be a crowd pleaser. Catherine told me that her least favorite part of performing is the curtain call at the end, when you come out and everybody claps for you. Who needs a bunch of strangers telling you you're good? I will tell you who needs it. When I was talking to Lonnie, he happened to mention just offhandedly that he likes Reply All as a podcast.
All right, take care. Oh, by the way, I love the show.
Oh my God, thank you.
Are you kidding? Adore it.
I can't tell you how much I love that piece of tape. It says everything that you need to know about you as a human being.
Oh my God, thank you.
Hold on, let's just play it one more time, just so that people can soak up every millisecond of
needs
it.
to soak up any milliseconds of anything.
Here we go.
Oh my God, thank you.
It's beautiful.
It is the sound of a person who feeds off human validation, finding a new source.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I am totally the same way. My favorite website, Twitter, is basically just a game where you try and see how many stars of approval you can get from people on the internet. I mean, you and me just had a 20-minute conversation about whether we should respond to someone who said something mean about the show on Twitter, or whether we should just be strong and confident enough people to let it go.
No, it wasn't even that. It was whether it would whether it would make us look crazy to yell at somebody or not. Like, it wasn't like whether we should be healthy. It was whether we should try to look healthy or enjoy looking mad.
And then PJ was like, well, how about I just hate fave him?
Which I actually still think we should do. We spent a year of our lives obsessed with trying to get more followers than each other on Twitter. And I commissioned a musician named Matt Farley to write a song telling people not to follow you.
How about a bunch of tweets of pictures of cats? No! Of course you don't want anything like that. Sing it! Follow PJ, don't follow Alex. Follow PJ, don't follow Alex. Follow PJ, don't follow Alex. Follow PJ, don't follow Alex.
Okay, so if I had gotten to choose the personality I was born with, I probably would have chosen to be somebody who cares less about what other people think. But on the other hand, if you are born with this affliction, performing in public kind of seems like the right job. Because the idea is you make something, you look at people's responses. If they don't like it, it drives you crazy. You try to make it better. And somewhere in that cycle, you hopefully make good entertainment. And that is basically what made this whole conversation with Catherine so confusing, is that I assumed that she was the same as us. And so no matter how many times I reminded her that some people, many people in fact, don't like her play, I could never make her care.
It's a confusing play. Some people really like that, some people don't. There's not one play that everybody in the world is going to love.
But this seems to be a play that a lot of people don't love.
But people like it too. What else can I say? Other people have liked it.
Right. But you could, if you wanted to, you could do a different play.
People would hate that too. My favorite play is Three Sisters by Chekhov. I love that play. Lots of people don't like that play.
But a lot of people like that play.
Sure, but I should find a play that more people will like. How would I do that? Why would I take a poll from all the people who said horrible things about Perfect Crime and say, would you like me to do another play? And they're like, no, we hate you and the play. Okay. You can't live your life trying to make everybody happy. I try to make the people I care about happy. Okay. But complete strangers, I try to make them happy. But if I can't, I let go.
Our producer, Fia Benin, asked Catherine a question that had not occurred to me to ask.
Is it really good?
I have no idea.
So you don't feel like this is the best play that's ever been written, and therefore...
No, it's definitely not the best play that's ever been written. No. There are great, great, great plays. This is not one of them. It's fun to do. My mother said it was the stupidest play she'd ever seen in her life.
Wait, what?
That's my mother. Yeah, it's a stupid play. Everything happens off stage. I was like, this is the play that's employed your daughter.
Catherine's not just the star of Perfect Crime. She does pretty much everything at the theater. This is her handing people tickets at the box office moments before she's supposed to go on stage.
Hi, can I help you?
My name is Hirschlag, 3 tickets.
You have great blue eyes. Did people tell you that?
Not lately.
I'm definitely not hitting on you. You just have beautiful eyes. There you go. I run this theater, so I take out the garbage, and if somebody throws up, I help clean it up. And, if the toilet's stopped up, we stop. I like doing all of that.
She starts her day at 5 a.m. She's answering emails. She's doing press requests. She's booking actors. She's talking to sponsors. She is never not moving. When we were done talking, I asked her if she could just sit still for 1 minute while I recorded the sound of the empty theater. So we literally have to record like a minute of room tone.
Okay.
She looked so uncomfortable. We actually had to start over because Catherine could not sit still. She'd taken her shoes off during the interview and she started trying to quietly put them back on. I think it feels weird for Catherine to sit still because she literally never does. And in fact, Catherine says that the play itself, the thing that we're obsessed with and the world sees and the internet hates, that play is just a little sliver of her day. It's her downtime.
So it's getting on stage is a breeze.
Right.
It's actually really good.
And nobody's allowed to like ping you for anything.
No, I mean they can't. I'm on stage for most of the time in the show, so like other than checking my email like once or twice during the show, I can't. There's no way I have time to email anybody or text anybody except in intermission.
Right.
So it's like blissful actually to have that time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
And the first thing I get to do is shoot somebody 6 times. So whatever crap has happened to me during the day, I'm like bang, 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 bang. It's great. It lets out whatever crap is there. It's like healthy, right? It's good. I let it all out.
Tonight, Catherine will do performance number 11,792 of Perfect Crime.
I mean, I know my place in the universe. You know, I'm in the Guinness Book of World Records, and I'm above the world's tallest horse. I swear to God. And there's a picture of the horse, but I don't get a picture.
While the rest of us spend our days scurrying around on Earth, wondering if we're smart or pretty or talented enough, Catherine Russell, she is like the sun. It rises every day and powers itself. It doesn't read its Yelp reviews. There's too much to do. There's not enough time to think about stopping. Since the story last aired, Catherine Russell continued to perform Perfect Crime without missing a single performance until March 16th, 2020, when Governor Cuomo closed down small theaters in New York. Catherine said that since then, she's been working at the theater every single day, cleaning, installing sanitizing devices, and raising money to build some new theaters down the street. She says she can't wait to be in a room full of people again. Coming up after the break, our most controversial yes, yes, no ever.
When the protest started this summer, I decided not to join. The main reason was that I didn't want to be let down again. I've been here before. I've marched, I've yelled, and not much changed. But when I did finally go out there, I found some people and stories that got me thinking about this movement in a much different way. And I want to show you. My new podcast, Resistance, is out now. Follow and listen on Spotify.
It's Black Lives, baby.
Welcome once again to Yes, Yes, No, the segment on the show where our boss, Alex Bloomberg, comes to us with something he doesn't understand from the internet, and we do our best to explain it to him. Alex Bloomberg.
Question mark?
Welcome. What do you want from me?
Welcome to the show?
Would you like to be welcomed?
Oh, man. Why do I do this?
People are bad at knowing what's going to bring them pleasure and what's going to bring them pain. I think that's what it is.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
Should I just dive in?
Yeah.
Dive in. It's a tweet from their handle is LXDX.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, nothing about this tweet makes sense.
Yes.
LXDX at Wokest Bloke. Here's the tweet. Showering in classes now. People mad at Aperol. Uber strike. Wiccan life. Gamer blocked his elf wife. We didn't start the 9,000 retweets. 40,000 likes.
So, Alex Bloomberg, do you understand this tweet?
No.
Any of it?
I understand the form that it is taking. It is that Billy Joel song, We Didn't Start the Fire.
Okay.
So I understand that.
Yeah. That's it.
But that's it.
None of it?
I knew there was an Uber strike.
Yeah. Alex Goldman.
I'm at about 30% on this one. I'm not very yes on this. I'm more no than yes.
Ooh la la.
PJ Vogt?
Fully understand this tweet.
Whoa.
Partly because so many people tweeted at us saying that we had to do this for Yes, Yes, No. I was like, I should Google some things.
That is like a characteristic difference between the two of us, I think, because people kept tweeting it at me, and I was like, you know what? Out of defiance, I'm not going to learn about this.
You have oppositional authority disorder.
We have
Is that a thing?
Yeah. Oh.
It sounds like a thing. So we're at yes, no, yes, kind of no.
Yeah. I know about the gamer and his elf wife.
You say that with such disgust for
Like
that
everybody
knowledge.
knows about that.
All right.
Okay. So like maybe the first thing you have to know is like this is the category of tweet that we run into sometimes on Yes Yes No, where it's just sort of like an omnibus bill of memes.
Right.
Like none of these things are related to each other. They are all just themselves things.
So we're going to go on a meme tour.
Yes, we're going to go on a meme tour. And it's actually a meme tour of a series of fights that all happened on the internet on 1 week, a few weeks ago. Some high stakes important fights, mostly small, ridiculous, petty fights.
Right.
Okay, so showering is classist now. I have to say, I find this one pretty enjoyable. So there's this like, there's certain debates on the internet. There's certain questions you can ask at any time that just strike some deep chord in being a human being. And every single person, no matter what they're doing, like they're like an EMT at the scene of a horrific accident and they look at their phone and they see that this debate is happening, they just like have to drop what they're doing and like run towards the argument.
Mm-hmm.
Like our hot dog sandwiches.
Wait, should you declaw your pets?
I didn't know that was one.
Oh my God. No one feels more strongly about anything than pets being declawed.
Okay, so one of these, which has been around for a few years, is, and it comes from Black Twitter. It's literally just a question. I feel like I already know the answer for both of you. Do you wash your legs when you shower?
Do you wash your legs when you shower?
Yeah, like when you take a shower in the morning, do you use soap specifically on your legs?
No.
Yes.
Shockingly the opposite of what I thought I was going to get out of that.
Wait, people should wash their legs with soap?
Yeah.
See, this is a thing about me that I think is genuinely pretty cool. I present as like a filthy, terrible monster.
If you end the sentence right there, I totally agree with you.
But I'm actually pretty clean underneath
my
these.
thighs are clean.
I'm actually pretty clean under these stained clothes.
So I feel like you guys can enact this right now, probably. Alex Bloomberg, why do you feel like you don't have to wash your legs like the Alex Goldmans of the world?
Well,
I already know the answer to this. It's because the soap rolls down your body, thereby washing your legs by dint of rinsing, right?
No.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
No, just because like soap, like you don't like soap. There's nothing. I don't know. The water's enough. Like it's not like I don't. What are you rolling around in on your legs? Like there's nothing. Like I wash my legs if there's dirt on my legs. But normally you're just like walking along. You've got clothes on. Your legs don't get dirty.
They get sweaty.
Yeah, and so then like you don't use the fresh water rinses it
You
off.
don't want your legs to be fragrant?
Fragrant? Is that how you really feel?
I just feel like if I'm going to use soap on my body, I'm using it on my entire body. Also, you use a washcloth to exfoliate.
Well, by the
Alex
way,
Goldman, your skincare regimen is really not what I would have expected.
But if it was so important, then people would have been like, "Hey, dude, your legs are smelly." Like somebody would have like somebody would have pointed it out to me in the 52 years I've been on the planet.
I mean, the other thing that I think encourages me to wash my legs is the one great joy in my life is sitting in the shower.
Sitting in the Okay, we're back to normal Alex Goldman territory.
Sitting in the shower is the best thing in the world.
You just sit down in the shower?
Yeah, crisscross applesauce. Put on a podcast.
I don't want
clean the hell out of my legs.
One of my little interior goals for this was to not have a vivid mental image, and I really have it now. So just
this is like, of all the years that we've been doing Yes Yes No's and like exploring the most horrific corners of the internet and the images that arise, and like that is like really one of the most. I wish I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can't unknow it.
I know.
Just to make sure we fully know it, though, you get in the shower Monday morning,
every morning.
Turn on probably local news radio or a podcast.
I put on a podcast.
Turn on the water. You wait for it to heat up. You take your clothes off.
Mm-hmm.
Water's a good temperature. You get in.
Close the door. Then I sit down.
You're making your legs dirtier by sitting on a mildewy shower floor.
Listen, you animal. My floor's not mildewy. I regularly clean it with bleach. It's fine.
Also, I guarantee you, if people were to swab our legs coming out of showers, your legs would be dirtier.
Wait, so just to continue with this, you're sitting on the floor, crisscross applesauce, and then you put soap on yourself while you're sitting down?
Yeah.
Do you stand up at any point?
When I'm done.
Did you grow up in like a different kind of household? Like, what was the day where a young Alex Goldman was standing in the shower and was like, this is a waste of muscle mass?
You know what it was? It was when I was in high school. And I was like, I'm really tired. I bet I can catch a few winks if I sit down and lean forward.
My God.
So I did, and I fell asleep for a few minutes.
Oh, God.
And there's not even like a moment where you just stand up and have a normal shower for a second before you get out.
No.
What that tells me is you have a dirty butt.
Wow.
I don't do it in stranger showers.
Wait, why?
I don't know how often they clean their showers. That's gross.
Hotel showers?
Yeah, no.
Oh, my God.
I don't know who's using it.
Oh, my God.
I don't know their cleanliness level.
Wow.
So as you guys can see, this is a question that really teaches you a lot about people that you thought you knew.
I feel like we got really derailed.
Wow.
No, I think that was exactly where we were supposed to go.
Wow.
Okay.
So like it feels like I'm sort of just making this up, but it feels like every 6 months, like this just comes up. Like someone will just ask the question and then thousands of people will chime in and start like yelling at each other because they'll be like, oh, men don't wash their legs or like whatever. Like people really dig in on it. Usually it's like 80% of people say they do, 20% say they don't, is what I've noticed.
Who's the weirdo now, Alex Bloomberg?
You're definitely the weirdo now.
Yeah, I know. All right, so wait. So this comes up on the internet all the time.
Yeah.
Leg washers versus leg not washers.
Yeah. Historically, it's been a thing that exists on Black Twitter, but then this just like random guy, Connor Arpwell, he tweeted a poll that was this poll was like, do you wash your legs in the shower? And for some reason, this just like made it explode in a way that I think it hasn't before. This one he literally just asked, do you wash your legs when you take a shower? 80% yes, 20% no. 2,500 retweets. This was early May. And then a week after this, this woman, she's an internet writer. Her name's Sophie Weiner. She writes for Splinter. She retweeted the poll. And the first thing she said in her thread was, gotta stand up for the dirtbag women out there yet again. And she like goes on to basically say, she's like, I don't like use soap on my whole body when I shower. I don't think I'm gross. I pretty much just wash my face and my armpits with soap, and I shower like once or twice a week. LOL. I think it's fine. Which I think people already started to kind of react against. But then she said that she wanted to acknowledge that as a middle-class cis white woman, she has a lot of privilege to not worry about stuff like body hair. And then she said that if people thought she was stinky in real life, she's open to feedback. But she thought that the obsession with cleanliness was weird classist bullshit, which everyone just lost their minds over.
Does she explain her argument?
Not well. Basically, it sounds like what she's saying is that cleanliness is something that belongs to like rich people. And so shaming people for not being clean is unfair and it's like class warfare. And a lot of people chimed in and they were like, dude, as a person who grew up like really poor, please don't argue for my right to be stinky. Like you are not helping me. You are not on my side.
The argument that cleanliness is classist is a classist argument.
The argument she's accidentally kind of making is that you can't get mad at people who stink because they stink because they're poor.
Yes.
And then she was sort of like, she realized she stepped in and she was like, I get it. I'm the asshole on the internet this week. I'm sorry. Please stop yelling at me, whatever. But it was like too late. It was like thousands of people. And there's also, I think the other thing about it is just there's so many times on the internet, particularly like 2019, where your last acceptable prejudices get taken away from you. Like you're like, I don't like this thing. And somebody's like, well, there's like a intersectional reason why your dislike of that is not cool. Mm-hmm. But she had overstepped that. And I think people were excited to be like, no. We don't like smelling body odor. That's fine. Right. You are wrong.
Uh-huh. She like privilege checked too far.
Yes.
Or something.
She like aimed the wokeness gun wrong and it exploded and hit her.
Right.
But the weird thing is like actually like in the middle of this tweet thread, she tweeted a link to this article, which I'm very sure nobody read. Mm-hmm. She tweeted this link to an article that was just like talking about how a lot of what we think of as hygiene has been constructed by companies to convince us to buy stuff like cologne and like perfume and like, you know, Listerine telling people that halitosis is a thing. Like, I think that is valid.
Huh.
All right.
So that's showering as classes now.
Okay.
Got it.
Got it.
Okay, what's the next one?
Let's see. People mad at Aperol.
What is Aperol?
What is Aperol?
You guys know what Aperol is?
No.
It's like a bitter. I think you call it an aperitif. It's
Oh,
like Campari.
It's like what are those things called? Is it called a digestif? No, it's
I
not
think-
a digestif.
Oh boy, I can like hear us getting yelled at by somebody who knows.
We're gonna get in trouble with cocktail Twitter.
Yeah, cocktail Twitter is not a Twitter that I would like to engage with. Okay, so the big fight about Aperol, it's ridiculous for a lot of reasons. One is just like, I feel like most people haven't heard of Aperol. I certainly hadn't. But then what happened was a couple years ago, the company that makes it decided to do this huge marketing push. Let me show you an ad from that marketing push.
So it's a beach, and there's a band playing Happy Together by the Turtles.
They also all look like what old person would think cool young people look like. Like they all look like they got kicked out of Coachella for not being cool enough.
Yes.
And they're all running toward each other.
Aperol Spritz for everyone.
So the ad's cheesy, but the other thing was I think they just got bartenders to push Aperol really hard, which that part worked. And so like last summer, every single intimidating literary person who I was scared of was suddenly just drinking this obscure European drink. And the big fight that this tweet is about, it's actually not like everybody versus Aperol. It's Aperol versus the New York Times.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is that a few years ago, the New York Times started doing this thing, which they claim is not on purpose, and to me seems extremely and obviously on purpose, but like you have to believe people when they say things, I guess, which is like once a year-ish, they'll post, usually it's a recipe. Like, so like a few years ago.
The guacamole and peas.
Yeah, they were like, hey guys, we got a great new recipe for guacamole. You put peas in it.
Right.
Everybody lost their minds.
Everybody lost their minds because it's like a weird, and also they were just treating it as if it were normal.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it like worked. Like it like generated lots of traffic. People talked about it. And it was like sort of a meme. At the time, like Obama tweeted about it. He was like,
Yeah.
I love the New York Times, but I wouldn't put.
I remember the pea in guacamole controversy. Yeah.
So then there was one after that. There was one where they were like, we have a ramen recipe using American cheese. That also kind of got people like, that's
right.
Why are you
Wasn't
ruining
there
everything?
Like a was there a coleslaw one or like?
I think there was a coleslaw one.
Yeah.
And sort of in that vein, they published this like polemic of you very recently that was just like, all these people are drinking Aperol Spritzes, and Aperol Spritzes are garbage.
What a dumb thing.
They were like, drinking Aperol Spritz is like drinking a hot Capri Sun on like a summer day, but worse. Basically, they were saying that like all these people who are enjoying this very, very niche cocktail were like, you know, slovenly morons who were drinking like juice packs and couldn't figure it out. Which is a weird piece because it's like the Venn diagram people even know what that drink is already pretty small. And then the amount of people who want to be told that this weird niche thing they like is the wrong thing and they suck is like even smaller.
Who wants to be told that anything they like sucks?
People want to be told that something somebody else likes that they don't like anymore sucks. But I don't think there's anybody who's like, I've moved on to a better spritz already.
Is this like a crossword where the thing in the first sentence is going to apply in some weird way to the second sentence? Because this is what's classist.
Yeah, this was classist. Or at least like very snobby. But like aimed at rich, it's like your monocle dealer is the wrong monocle dealer. And so the group of people who had started drinking Aperol Spritzes were just like, fuck you, the New York Times. Like everyone who reacted to this article on Twitter was unanimously just low-key mad about it. Like, this is a bad take, and it's one thing everybody gets to agree on for a second.
So that's Aperol. Let's move on, shall we?
Yes.
Uber strike.
Uber strike. Okay. So you know that there was an Uber strike.
I knew there was an Uber strike. Yes.
So I actually kind of find the dynamic that's going on pretty fascinating. Basically, drivers who sign up for these ride-sharing companies, whether it's like Lyft, Uber, Juno, like whatever, like local ones or in different cities, they're in this really weird position because the companies don't want to acknowledge them as employees. And because they're not employees, they don't have to like offer them health care or like give them minimum wage. Like they're all independent contractors. And the companies they're working for are just constantly losing money because they're like venture capital backed. So they don't have to be profitable. I mean, until very recently. And so the companies just want to acquire as many customers and drive everybody out of business. So they're trying to lower prices for customers. And the way they do that is to like lower wages for drivers all the time. So the drivers decided to do this multi-city strike for a few hours in New York, LA, like all these major cities. There's like a lot of our drivers are not going to drive. This is a driver talking at a press conference at the New York strike.
I used to make $37 in 2014.
He's talking about like how for his experience, which is a lot of people's experience, is he took this job. In the beginning, it was lucrative. And then once he was hooked in, they just started paying him less and less money. He actually has, I think, graphs of how his wages have gone down.
Anybody wants a copy, I'll give you the copies. For $10 an hour, does it pay? How many of you will work for $10 with your car? That you have to buy the car, you have to buy the insurance, you have to maintain the car, and you have to buy the gasoline. And I still have to take out the tolls out of $9.87.
So people are really mad.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And part of the reason that they're also so mad, it's like both they had a hard job where their wages have been progressively going down, but also Uber and Lyft just did their IPOs. And so the executives of the company made tons of money. And also in the IPO, you have to say the obstacles your company is facing. Mm-hmm. And Uber really straightforwardly said, we know our drivers are pretty dissatisfied. One of the ways we're going to make more money is to pay them less. And so they're going to get angrier. And that's just a thing that we're forecasting, which was public. Like the drivers read that.
It just feels very cynical.
That's so crazy. And I remember when Uber first came out, because I think I was still doing Planet Money around that time, or I'd just come off of it. And so I was like, interesting new business, and how is this working for the people who are driving the cars? And I would ask people, like, how do you like it? And everybody was like, in my experience, like every Uber I got in back around that time was like, it's great. I make a lot of money. You know, they were like, they felt really good. And I remember thinking like, this is weird. It doesn't normally work this way. But that seems pretty great. But I wonder if it's going to keep on going that way. And obviously,
yeah. And I mean, this guy's saying
not.
it. Like the difference between
like
$37 an hour and $9.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Uber strike.
Depressing.
Okay. What's next?
Wiccan Life.
Oh, okay. So this was the one where when people started tweeting at us about this tweet, I had no idea what Wicked Life was. I asked producer Anna Foley. She didn't know either. And so we just spent the better part of the day just trying to figure out what this was. Okay. Anna figured it out. So Wiccan is a Marvel superhero. And he sort of figures into this fight that is taking place about Marvel superheroes. The best way I can explain it, have you guys seen the new Avengers movie, Avengers Endgame?
Yes.
No.
Okay, there was one scene in the
spoilers.
thing that flew by my head, but that was very important to people on the internet, which I'm going to show you. I got a bootleg that somebody taped off it's like, I think it's from maybe Sri Lanka, like some theater, it's like has like subtitles. It's really great.
I watched the whole thing that way.
Really?
Yeah.
Why don't you go see a movie?
I saw the movie too.
While you were sitting in the shower?
How am I supposed to watch TV in the shower?
You put an iPad in a large Ziploc bag. I've thought about this. Sometimes you're binging.
Why are you bootlegging it? It's been out for like you only get the bootleg if it hasn't been out yet.
Sometimes no, you get the bootleg if it's not out at home yet.
But you saw it in the movie theater, and then you're like, I want to watch this again, but shaky and with people laughing over it.
Yeah.
So literally, like, what were you going back for?
There were a couple of things that I wanted to see again.
Like what?
I don't want to get into it.
Scenes that gave you feelings that you wanted to have again?
Too personal.
No, not scenes that gave me feelings that I wanted to have again. I had some plot hole questions that I had to go back and look at.
You had plot hole questions that you had to go back and look at?
Well, I was wondering, in all the other ones, people can't even hold the Infinity Stones. If they do, they actually can't hold them. But in this movie, they're all running around with them. Hawkeye, a straight up human with no superpowers, is running through fucking the Avengers secret hideaway in upstate New York for like half an hour holding the Infinity Gauntlet. How is he doing that?
Wait, he has no superpowers?
He can just shoot a bow and arrow
really well.
Well, how does he do it with that accuracy?
Practice.
Oh. Were you waiting? Were you waiting for the moment where they were like, "Oh, it's cool that we got these special gloves or whatever"? Like, were you trying to find some justification that you missed the first time?
Yes, I was trying to see if there was like something that would have indicated that it was like that and a couple other things.
Anyway, the point is I bootlegged the Avengers to show you guys this one scene.
Okay.
Which, as far as I know, contains no plot holes. And like, this is not a big spoilery scene if somebody hasn't seen it, but like, it takes place after this big apocalyptic event has happened.
Yes.
Okay.
Infinity War.
Yeah. They like come back and like they're showing you all the people that you saw survive the first movie, just like what they've been up to since then. Mm-hmm. And Captain America, instead of being Captain America, runs a group therapy workshop.
Okay, so this is
just like a
panning over an empty stadium.
So I went on a date the other day. First time in 5 years, you know, sitting there at dinner. I didn't even know what to talk about.
So he's just a guy in therapy talking about this guy that he went on a date with.
Talk about same old crap, you know, things have changed, and my job, his job, how much we miss the Mets. And then things got quiet. And he cried as they were serving the salads. What about you? And I cried just before dessert. But I'm seeing them again tomorrow, so it's great.
The reason this was a big deal for people was because it was the first time in a Marvel movie that there was just a gay character at all.
Oh.
And you've heard all of the lines of that character. Like, they're not like a superhero, they're not like a main person, whatever.
Right.
But there were people who are just like really excited about representation. There were also people who are like, the filmmakers bragged a lot about this, but it's a very small role. Actually, the guy playing it is one of the filmmakers, and he was like, one of the directors. He was like, it's so important, I wanted to be there. And there were people who were like, in a movie with like 300 superheroes in it, you could have had a gay superhero. Like, I don't
Not
think...
in a movie with 300 superheroes in it, in the 18 movies that preceded this one.
Yeah. Some people were excited about it. A lot of other people were like, come on, you guys could do better. But then people found out that like Marvel has had this whole plan where they're like, there's like 4 phases, and there's going to be like Iron Man 1 and Thor 1 and then Iron Man 2 and Thor 2. And then eventually it's going to end in this Endgame movie and like the cycle will be complete. But because there's like an amendment in the U.S. Constitution that says that we have to watch superhero movies every year, we all die. They're rolling out a new phase with the like young Avengers, who are the newer superheroes.
Right.
So do you know about Hulkling, Alex?
What? Hulkling? No.
Okay, so Hulkling, it's not like, oh, this is Hulk's son. It's just like, here's a young character who's also like the Hulk, and we'll call him Hulkling. He's a character. And then there's a character named Wiccan, who's somehow related to Vision, I think. This is like on the outside of my comic nerdery. But basically, so these characters were written like the early 2000s, and the writer wanted them to be a gay couple.
Wiccan and Hulkling.
Wiccan and Hulkling.
Got it.
And he was worried that Marvel would just be too conservative. They wouldn't let him do it. And so he came up with this whole complicated story, which is that Wiccan is a shapeshifter. And when you first met her in the comics, she'd be a woman. But then over time, she'd like go on this journey, and she'd realize that her true shifted self was a man.
Mm-hmm.
And then the two of them would have to decide if they were really in love and if it like crossed gender lines and all this stuff. And he pitched it to his bosses.
Cool.
And they're like, that's really complicated, man. Why don't you just make them both men and they could be in love? And he's like, okay. So they're a gay superhero couple, and people are excited because they're like, oh, we're going to get a Wiccan movie. We're going to get gay superheroes who are in love with each other.
Huh. Okay.
I think. That is me and Anna's best guess for Wiccan life. That is the most sort of Wiccan bubbling up story that has happened this week.
So it has nothing to do with actual Wiccans.
Not that I know of.
All right.
If people know better than me,
I'm looking forward
they
to
should tweet at Alex Goldman.
No.
Okay.
All right, Alex Bloomberg, what's next?
What's next is, okay, so we've gone showering is classes now. We've gone people mad at Aperol, Uber strike, Wiccan life, and we are now on Gamer blocked his elf wife.
Right. So Gamer blocked his elf wife.
This is the one I know.
Yes.
Okay, so there's this guy named Jared Knaupenbauer. In his former life, he was a snobby assistant manager at a GameStop, which is not a rare thing. The way he got out of that job was that he started posting video game reviews online, which he got sort of famous for on the internet. This is like the trailer for his YouTube page.
1 minute review. Ready, go! Here's an indie game that's worth a damn. BioShock Infinite is one of the most gripping games I've ever played. These trees are trying to kill me. You, nature.
Anyway, that's Jared.
Okay.
He reminds me of everyone I worked at a video store with, including myself.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Everything you like is bad, and everything that's obscure is good.
Right.
But video games. So he has a big following, over 1 million subscribers. His fans really like him. They also really like his wife, this woman named Heidi O'Farrell. She is a cosplayer. Do you know what a cosplayer is?
You're dressing up. You dress up.
In costume.
In costume. Cos.
Yes.
It's short for costume.
So it means that she has these YouTube videos. She sort of has two types of YouTube videos. She plays video games, but also There's a lot of videos where she's explaining to people how to make, like, for instance, like a Sailor Moon costume.
Oh.
So this is her. She's doing like prep for Dragon Con.
Hello, and welcome to Dragon Con Crunch Time in my workshop.
It's like always her in front of her sewing machine and her spindles and stuff.
She has a workshop. She has a set.
Yeah. You guys get the idea. Anyway, so the two of them, Heidi and Jared, for years have just been this sort of happy nerd couple online. People really like. Until very, very recently.
Got it.
So about 2 weeks ago, he posted something on his Twitter which said it was called a statement. And
I have it.
Never good.
Yeah.
I can read it.
A statement.
My wife Heidi and I have filed for divorce. I know this may come as surprising and upsetting for many of you, but know that we do this so that we may both seek happiness for ourselves. During this time, you may see a lot of rumors, speculation, and gossip going around. I ask that you make your own observations and come to your own conclusions. I will add that this decision was reached after extensive individual therapy on my part and couples therapy together. With that said, this is all I plan on saying publicly regarding this matter. Heidi's privacy, mental well-being, and discretion has always been and will remain my highest priority through all of this. It is my hope that we both exit this marriage with style and grace. I plan on continuing to do everything I can on my part to make this happen. Thank you for your understanding, patience, kindness, and respect for our privacy.
All right.
Yep.
Seems fine.
So he tweets that. Half an hour later, his wife Heidi tweets, she says, I'm not quoting her, but she says she's like, apparently my husband tweeted something about me. I can't see it because he fucking blocked me.
It goes downhill from there pretty sharply.
So first of all, people were very amused by the idea of someone blocking their wife.
Yeah, right.
It just feels like a severely internet-y thing to do. But she proceeded to say that it was not an amicable split. And in fact, she said that he'd been cheating on her with
another YouTube gamer.
The other woman who his wife said he'd been seeing, she started releasing stuff on the internet.
Oh.
She said it wasn't cheating. It was an open relationship. But then Heidi said, no, we did have an open relationship, but we closed it. And so it was cheating. I think at one point, both women accused the other of being both abusive and gaslighting. It just got very, very messy.
Right.
And then...
Oh, then there's another then.
There's another and then.
Okay.
Things got substantially worse for him. He had a Tumblr where his fans would follow him. And in a way that was sort of seemed joking, sort of honestly did not seem joking, he would constantly say that people should send him nudes, like nude photographs.
On his Tumblr.
On his Tumblr. And fans have come forward and said that they did send him naked pictures. What happened was Jared's fans considered him to be kind of a heartthrob.
Got it.
So some of them made a video game. Do you know what a dating simulator is?
A dating simulator?
Yeah.
No.
It's a genre of video game. A lot of times it takes place in a school.
And basically what you do is you have conversations with someone.
Potential suitors.
A potential suitor that you might want to date. They're like conversation trees. So if you answer correctly to whatever they say to you, then maybe you can get further flirting with them. And eventually, like, the way you win the game is if you guys get together.
So in this game, you play a Japanese high school girl. You're choosing who to date, but all the people that you can date in the game are actual YouTube personalities, including Jared. This is the intro for it. It's a lot. So it's like an anime schoolhouse. And then it's almost like the intro to like a 90s sitcom. Like it's all these like...
Yeah, establishing shots of the exterior of the school.
This schoolgirl is the character you play, Hannah.
An empty classroom. Then there's Hannah having various expressions.
Of almost all shyness. And then these are the boys.
Oh. Wow. This is some full beards for high school boys.
Well, because they're really video game YouTubers.
Oh, right.
So there's John with his catchphrase, I couldn't make it without you. PBG, here, take my hand and don't let go. And Jared, you captivate me, Hannah. And like his illustration of the game is significantly more dreamy than him in real life. Fandom is insane. It's a fan-made video game about having a crush on a real-life person named Jared.
Got it.
The fans of this game, according to a bunch of them, what happened next was that he already had his public Tumblr where he was joking about wanting to see everybody naked. According to them, and they have screenshots that they gave to the Daily Beast, he allegedly set up an additional private Tumblr called Sin Jared, and he called his fans his sinners. And what they said is that he would ask them to send naked photos of themselves. He would send naked photos of himself and also ask them to draw erotica for him.
Okay.
even in the screenshots they provided, this private Tumblr had a notice that said that he didn't want to hear from underage fans. The women who came forward, they said most of these fans were very young. And there was even one woman who said, look, I sent him naked pictures. I was underage. He did not seem particularly concerned with checking to see if I was 18.
Right.
And this came out in the wake of all these like flying adultery things.
Mm-hmm.
But after this, I think people were like, it doesn't really matter what kind of open polyamorous relationship he had with various cosplayers. This is a guy who is facing accusations that he was swapping naked pictures with young fans. Like, people just did not want to be involved after that. So he had over 1 million subscribers. He lost a couple 100,000. Like, he seems like a complete pariah at this point.
Huh. Gamer blocked his elf-wife. Wait, what? Elf?
Oh, because she dresses up.
cosplays as an elf.
She cosplays as an elf.
Oh, got it.
Alex Bloomberg, you ready to go back to the tweet?
I am. Yes. So, showering his classes now. People mad at Aperol. Uber strike. Wiccan life. Gamer blocked his elf-wife. We didn't start the showering his classes now. There was an internet debate about washing your legs that spun into side conversations. One of the side conversations is by a young woman on Twitter who is trying to sort of establish like that she's checking her privilege, and she says that and she talks about how showering is classist, and then everybody's like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? Showering is not classist. Showering is just the way you get clean, and you're saying that was classist is actually showing that you're a classist.
Yes.
Then next, people mad at Aperol. There was an incredibly classist article in the New York Times taking issue with a fancy drink that people drink in fancy places in New York. And then the fancy people who drink that drink, the Aperol Spritz, got mad at the New York Times for publishing that. Uber strike. Uber drivers feel exploited, but they can't unionize because they're not employees, and so they did a strike.
Yes.
Wiccan Life, we think is about people's excitement about an upcoming Marvel movie with a same-sex superhero relationship.
Yes, we think.
And Gamer blocked his elf wife. That is one where there is a YouTuber who reviews video games, and he posted this very mature Twitter statement about his divorce, then blocked his wife, and then everything spiraled into a sex scandal.
And his wife dresses up as an elf.
And his wife dresses up as an elf. And there we have it. All the week's memes.
The only other thing that I have thought about this tweet is that I feel like the meta joke of it that I like is like, we didn't start the fire. It was like all these like cultural references, all these things that happen. And I feel like it spans like a decade or something like that.
It spans several decades.
This is a week. Like, these are things that happen on the internet in a week.
The very first reply is, we didn't start the fire, 1989. Event spanned 40 years. Song is 4 minutes long. We didn't start the fire, 2019. Event span a week. Song is 28 minutes long. We didn't start the fire, 2021. Event span 2 hours. Song is somehow 3 hours long.
Okay. Are we at yes, yes, yes?
We are at yes, yes,
We
yes.
are.
Thanks, guys.
No problem. Reply All is hosted by me, PJ Vogt, and Alex Goldman. The show is produced by Shruti Pinamaneni, Fia Benin, Damiana Marchetti, Anna Foley, Jessica Young, and Emmanuel Jochi. Our editor is Tim Howard. We're mixed by Rick Kwan. Fact-checking by Michelle Harris. Additional help from Peter Clowney, Cleo Holt, Mervyn DeGanos, and Christina Ayala de Josa. Special thanks to Emma Jacobs and Emily Kennedy. Matt Lieber is the phone that you drop out of your hand onto the sidewalk, pick up in sheer horror, look at, and then realize is somehow completely unharmed. Our theme song is by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. You can find more episodes of the show on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Republican Party has opposed climate action for years, but it wasn't always like this.
The Clean Air Act. Guess who it was signed under?
Nixon.
The Endangered Species Act.
Richard Nixon.
The Environmental Protection Agency.
Richard Nixon.
I'm Alex Bloomberg.
And I'm Dr. Ayanna Elizabeth Johnson. And on episode 6 of How to Save a Planet, how Republicans became the party of climate denial.
We talked to two conservatives who want to make Republicans environmentalists again.
Follow and listen for free on Spotify.